So we got it off the coach and on the bench. First thing we got to do is pry this little seal out. I use an offset screwdriver. It works pretty well. And then we have to loosen the 3 retaining bolts on the little triangular plate on the bottom. And we've already loosened these a little bit with a hammer so they're not so tight. And we have to take these all the way out. When I get them out, I'm going to cut a screwdriver slot in the end, and then we can stick a screwdriver down here and just screw them down and screw them in. It'll be a whole lot faster. Okay, we've about got the last one here. I use a special pair of little pliers once in a while. Okay, the next thing is to push the hub out of the knuckle. So we have a little washer we put on here and a pusher, whatever you want to call it. We may need to clean out these threads with a tap a little bit. These 3/8 threads are pretty boogered, and some of them don't come through in this top arm here, so the bolt wouldn't start. So we're going to clean them out a little bit with a tap. 3/8 16, that's coarse. Make this take off a little better. Snug these 3 bolts down even, not real tight, because we're going to be pushing against them. Okay, I use an air impact wrench, so the noise is probably going to be pretty bad. Okay, that pulls it right off. We'll back up for the next time. Take the bolts off of the hub. And I think we've got a socket over to that. Now we've got the knuckle off. The first thing to check is the inside. We'll take it over to the wash pan in a little bit and wash it up a little. But what you want to look for is in the top of the knuckle, there will be some grooves. There's some in this. We're going to get the ball dial gauge and check it here in just a minute. So we're ready to start pulling the hub now. Okay, we're going to put a dial bore gauge in here. This tells us the exact diameter, and this says this is about 7 thousandths oversized in one race, and then about 5 in the other. And the big race is the inside one, which is bad. Now, if you'll look up in the top, you'll see where the 2 bearings run. And the reason it was tight is there's about a 3/8 area in the front that the bearing does not seat on, and the 1/4 inch from the spacer. And when you go to take it apart, they'll feel tight, but after you get it apart, you look up in there and there's 2 tracks where the bearing's set. And this knuckle we probably won't even wash up because it needs replacing. I think when they get over about 3 or 4, they're ready for the repair bin. Okay. Next step is to remove the bearings from the hub. So we push the seal down as far as we can. Now, some of these hubs are not machined down far enough to let the bearing puller on good. First we're going to put this little round washer in here with a dimple in it to push against when we get the puller mounted. Now the puller goes on the bottom edge of the bearings, between the seal. That's the go above the seal and below the bearing. It's real tight. The bearing only sticks off of the hub a 32nd. So this bearing puller has to be completely together. It's made in 2 halves. It has to be completely pinched together real tight. It's a precise size to fit the bearing and the hub. And if you tap it a little with a hammer, it'll get in there. But you have to snug that up real good. Make sure the 2 halves are pinched together. This is critical. Almost together on this side, we're together on the other side, good enough. Okay. That's good enough. Now we'll take the puller bar and put it on top. The thread has a ball on the bottom that goes in that little dimple. That reduces the friction considerably. Want to keep this thread real lubricated, and because it does a tough job. Tighten these bolts up tight. Make sure the center part's backed away and is not touching the bottom until you get these hold-on bolts tight. Okay, now we're ready for the old impact again, and the noise will probably drown us out. You can see it's pulling it right up. That's not going to be the tightest hub in the world. We can tell that by the way the puller took it off. It took it off very easily. Just some real tight ones. I have had them. I had to put a 1/2-inch brake bar on the top of here instead of the impact wrench. But normally the impact wrench will do the job for you. So we're taking this apart now so we can get the bearings out, wash them, inspect them. If they're good, put them back. If they're not, we'll get us some new ones and put in them. Okay, now I want to loosen this up again. Like I said, you look at the bottom of here, and that puller only gets a hold of that little bearing and race a 32nd. That's not much to pull something that on a 2000 hub. It'll really pull a lot tougher than this one did. The 2 halves are made out of heat-treated steel. I had some there from probably 45 to 55 Rockwell. So the little lifts are pretty tough on it. Okay, the bearing and the puller. Now be sure and do not mix the races up with the bearings, and keep them just in the sequence that they are. So we're going to take these over to the wash pan now, and we're going to wash up. This is the internal seal. We're going to wash that up, and the bearing retainer. We're going to get the 3 bolts out of here and put them in the vise and cut some screwdriver slots in them so we don't do all that reaching around down under. It took us 10 minutes here to get the bolts out. It'll take us about 2 to get them back. cut a screwdriver slot in the end of that. Just take a hacksaw and saw it right on the end. Okay. We're going to go with the wash pan now. Show you. Cut a slot in that little baby. Right there. With a hacksaw. Make it a little bit wide. And that'll make that go together a whole lot easier. Okay, do that to all three of them. Okay, we're going to wipe this hub off and check it to see if it's worth washing. Don't look too bad. End's pretty beat up on it. Somebody's had a lot of fun with it. Takes 1 to 2 micrometer. And it's about 1 1/4 over. A little egg shape, but it's just about too good to throw away. It goes from 2 to about a half. So I'm going to tell Steve to run it one more time, and he'll probably get one more trip out of it. So we're going to use this hub. We're going to wash it up and use it. You can shut it off now. Okay, we've discovered a pit in the race of the old bearing, so we're not going to use it. So I've got a new set of, this is Timkins, and they call them set 23. I'll give you the numbers anytime you ask for them. And I like Timkins because they mark the clearance on the outside of the center race here. This one says it has 6 thousandths. Okay, in order to check the clearance, you can put a little plug, roll of toilet paper, a plug in the middle of it, and put it in the vise. Is this going to show? Huh? Move it over. And clamp them in the vise. Take 2 feeler gauges. That said 6 thousandths. I don't got them, but I'm going to double check them. So I'm going to get 2 6 thousandths feelers. And this is how you check the clearance on your old bearing. And if you don't have 6 thousandths, you can change it by changing the center spacer, this little part here. I'll go through them and mic one and pick it out. Okay, you stick the 2 feeler gauges on each side of the race and the spacer. And this is a good tight 6, which is what they said they had. Get them opposite each other and it'll be good and tight. And that is a 6 thousandths bearing, which I think is just about right on this older hub, since it don't okay, your folks not. Alright, I'm going to take the plug. Alright, we're going to pack this thing now that we've checked them. But the first thing we want to do is put this 3-cornered plate back on the hub. And we're going to put a new seal. It's Federal Mogul's 5109. And we're going to put a little grease on it. And a little on the seal area. And put the 3-cornered plate on and the new seal. If you forget it, you have to pull the bearings off again. Okay, then back to the tool set, we have what we call the bearing locator. It's a little aluminum plug. Set it on there. And we're going to pack this bearing. So this is a little old bearing packer I made. And you just take it and push the bearing down in it. And the good juice comes up right up through the center. Someday I'm going to take time to make an ejector. Okay, and be sure and put the bearing with the wide face down so the little raised boss is to the center. Then goes the spacer that sets the clearance, and pack this with grease. realize how much grease you can put in this bearing. Okay. Now we're going to fill the packer again and pack the last bearing. Push it down on there. I like to rub a little around on the inside brace. It gets it anyway, but okay, see it squirt up there? Put it on the locator, put a little lip down, wipe the excess off. And make sure that the little rings are lined up here. Okay, then goes the little yellow installer. Okay, then under there goes what I call an anchor nut. It's the black T-handled affair, and you just set it under the hub, right up the center. Okay, then you take the long bolt with the washers on it. Lubricate the threads a little bit. And this will screw down into that anchor. And this is hollow, and it'll draw that right on there. Okay. There it goes for some impact. Now there's two ways to tell when you're down. One of them is to, I have a little grease on that shoulder that it might say, watch it squirt the grease out, and watch the socket, it'll quit turning, and listen for the sound of the impact. Don't just keep rattling an impact, because all you're doing is stretching the threads in. When it changes, you'll tell when it's solid, when the grease squirts out and the socket quits turning, you're down. Right there. You can stick a feeler gauge under there and check if you're in doubt, but normally that'll tell you pretty good. Let that get out. Okay. Now we're down. Now we'll pull the seal up, and that seats the seal. And we're going to install the knuckle. Now this one had a pretty oversized knuckle, so we're going to put a reconditioned knuckle on here and set it on there. And we put this green driver on it now and use the same bolt out of the bearing installer and start it down. Don't just ram it to it. Get down here and look and make sure that the knuckle is not cocked on the bearing. You can look at the bearing, and if it gets a little out, just tap it with a hammer. And you can tell when you're down the same way. You'll get a solid sound, the socket will quit turning, and you'll be able to tell. Right there. can check in there and see that that seat is back against this shoulder on the inside of this. I always add a little grease in the back of here. Never get too much. Okay. Now we're down to that. Now we need a new rear seal. So we have a little steel installer here. It's just a little piece of PVC, and the seal goes rubber end up in there and down here, and you tap her down with a hammer evenly. When the installer seats, that's as far down as you want to be. So now you've got a packed hub all ready to go. Now we got the fun left though. We're going to put the 3 little bolts in. Whoops. That we've cut the slots in. And I always do this front one first because it's the easiest, and put just a dab of grease on your finger. Stick this screwdriver down in here. Hole. The plate has to be equal. It's hanging down right now. There we go. I'm going to stick a screwdriver under here. Kind of help hold it even. Still not there. Now I think we're there. Yeah. Wires out. Meat standing on your head under the coach. Little pair of needle nose pliers that I've bent up to kind of hold things a little bit. Some guys use just regular wire, and there's a number of ways to get them in there, but I found this was the easiest. Get one finger under there, get it started. We lost that one. We'll try again. legal gutter that time, okay? Now we'll give them a snug job with a 9/16 wrench. I'm using a regular old Craftsman's 9/16. I had bent wrenches and special wrenches and all, and I found that they're just about as good. So you don't need to go to a lot of trouble bending up a wrench. However, the little pliers work pretty good though. Okay. I think that'll do it for now.